All right, there you go. Crystal's
There we
here.
are. Hello, everybody. Sorry about
Hey,
that.
Crystal. It's okay. Technology. Tell us your name and where you're from, where you're joining us from. How's everybody feeling? Happy Wednesday. Crystal, you look fabulous. The curls are up today.
Thank
We
you.
enjoyed the curls
Every
yesterday.
day is going higher and higher and higher.
Hey, listen, amen. Listen, me too, right? Go ahead and throw that good pony in the back.
Hmm.
My son told me yesterday I had my hair done. I was getting ready to wrap it. And he said, and today's his birthday, my little
Happy
Papa Bear.
birthday.
So happy birthday to Cameron Jr., my little Papa Bear. He said, Mommy, why'd you change your hair? I don't like your hair like that. I was like, okay, thank you.
Oh,
I was like, well, how do you like mommy's hair? He was like, I like when you have that fox thing. He's trying to call it a ponytail. I don't know why he called it a fox. He calls it a
Foxton, because of the
foxtail.
tail. Oh, that's so cute.
Yeah, super sweet. So we have Monique from New York. Okay, New York. Keep telling us where you're from. Nick Jackson. Nick, hi there. Where you from? Let us know where you're from. We're super excited to talk today about our topic. Crystal, you want to start us off? Tell
Yeah,
the folks what we're talking about.
today's topic is romantic relationships. We're going to explore how mental health impacts our
Mhm.
romantic relationships and give you some insight into how therapy can help and also how we can build fulfilling partnerships.
Yes,
Hmm.
awesome. We got Esther from the UK. All right,
Oh,
UK in the
hi.
building.
Hi, Esther. That's awesome.
Awesome. Yeah, so we'll be talking about romantic relationships. This is such an area that affects every stage of development of our
Hmm.
lives, right? Because I think back to even as I was talking about my son's birthday, whose birthday it is, even when he's a child, right? Like how I have a romantic relationship affects his development. The
Hmm.
way he sees me and his father interact affects his development, right? And it affects
Hmm.
his romantic relationships. So
Yep.
there's no point in stage in life where we're not affected by romantic relationships.
Exactly. I think what we see, what we learn from our environment impacts how we show up in our partnerships moving forward too. So it's definitely important to know how to navigate them. And if you don't know, you ask for help.
Right. But I would say this is the most significant area that I work with clients on, are their romantic
Really?
relationships. Absolutely. And I
Hmm.
really like working with, and we have some folks join. Hey, Whitney Elise. Oh, is that Pastor Robinson? Hello, welcome. Welcome, welcome, welcome. So the romantic relationship, when I'm working with, and it's all ages. I think people would think when we're talking about romance and things like that and intimacy, we're always talking about young people dating and that whole thing.
Hmm.
When I personally, when I'm working with a client, I like to have an understanding of their romantic relationships, even if they're not coming to me to talk about or discuss romantic relationships, because I
Hmm.
find that who you are shows up the most in your
Hmm.
romantic relationships.
Yep.
And for me as a therapist to understand who you are, understanding it through the dynamics of your romantic relationships will give me a
Hmm.
quick insight into who you are. And it
Exactly.
tells me how you show up.
And
Yeah.
I think that I think being in partnership is a great learning tool because our partners
Mhm.
are our mirrors. They show us who we are outside of
Yes.
ourselves. And sometimes it's cringy. It's like, oh, I said that, I do that. And they
Right.
observe us.
Yes.
They see us more than we see ourselves because, we in it. But to have
Yeah.
someone be that constant mirror all the time, it can be very triggering, which is why partnerships end up in there because it's like, oh, wait, I didn't know that I communicate this way or this. I think it helps us to grow. If it
Hmm.
doesn't work out, you still grew because you learned, hey, I don't like this or I do like this. This is what I
Right.
need
Right.
in my connection. So it's a great learning tool for sure.
It's a great learning tool for us as therapists. And of course, for that person, it also brings me to the aspect of like, and many psychologists and psychiatrists, I'll say psychoanalysts rather, believe
Mm-hmm.
that through romantic relationships that the whole essence of life is exploring sexual romantic relationships, whether it's your job, you're trying
Mm-hmm.
to access a certain job to be able to have access to the quote unquote highest standard of a person, whether it's
Hmm.
the car that you drive, the things that you buy, the way that you wear, it's
Interesting.
always in the interest to attract, right? Like, and this is for the most part probably more Eurocentric,
Yeah.
white dominant society, analytics, Sigmund and Freud type things. I
Hmm.
think there might be some truth to that, we prepare ourselves so that we can put our best selves forward, whether that's the career we choose because of the lifestyle we want. Typically, we
Hmm.
want certain lifestyles, we want certain type of people to fit into those lifestyles. So I think
Hmm.
there's definitely some truth to that. The larger component, I think the more important component, because our time together with our audience is not so much to go into psychoanalytics, but more or less to talk to you all about how you can use therapy to have better access to knowing yourself so that you can present yourself and be
Hmm.
yourself, a better
Hmm.
version of yourself, always in romantic relationships.
Exactly. So,
Yeah.
which is our first question, which is for you, Lachey. What's one way Black professionals can heal from heartbreak and to create
Mm.
a healthier romantic relationships?
Yeah, that's so good. So the first thing that I think about is heartbreak. I operate from a trauma perspective, being a person that does more trauma work, is to really challenge yourself and to ask
Mm-hmm.
yourself what is actually the grief. Because sometimes we're calling things heartbreak and it's just you got your feelings hurt. Some things we're calling
Hmm.
them heartbreak and it's like, oh, he didn't like you, she didn't like you, it didn't work out. Does that
Hmm.
have to be heartbreak? Are we really naming things as they are? Which is sometimes why I
Mm.
don't like to put names on things. More or less, I like to describe them.
Mm.
Because once you put a name on it, you want it to operate in accordance to what you call it, right? I think about it
Right.
biblically. God called us forth as, his children, so
Hmm.
we operate in this forth. God called us children, God called us forth as his own, so we're to operate, right? I call my husband because my expectation is that it will match, right?
Hmm.
So, colleagues, whatever the case, we name those things, right? Adam had the power to name the animals because they were to operate in a certain way under his authority. And so when we're in
Hmm.
relationships, you don't own the other person. You're not married. So this
Right.
person showing up how they're showing up is how they are allowed to show up. And
Hmm.
so I like to back up a little bit when I'm working with the client and really ask them, tell me about heartache. Tell me about
Hmm.
heartbreak. How do you define that? What are the parameters that surround that? And you get a better
Hmm.
understanding of the client. You really get to understand that, this is triggering when their mom gave away their dollhouse when they were 5, and it had a deep seated feeling of abandonment and rejection, or maybe their mother not being as nurturing as they would have desired it to be, right? So they're making
Hmm.
all these assumptions based on previous romantic, right,
Hmm.
substance relationships, because your parents and your main caregivers are your first love. We look at
Right.
romance always, especially in our culture, is sexual. But the way your
Hmm.
parents interact with you, obviously it's not intimate, obviously, but it should be nurturing, it should be endearing, right? It should
Hmm.
have a certain place in your heart, right? All those things, God calls that the storgeo. It's a familial type of love, or storgeo, familial type of love, right?
Hmm. So when someone comes to you, well, like fresh off of a breakup or ending of a
Yeah.
connection, and they're trying to say, I'm heartbroken, I'm heartached. And it's interesting because you said that to really describe what they're feeling, because
Mm-hmm.
sometimes heartbreak really isn't what we think it is sometimes, or it
Mm-hmm.
could be. We never know. But heartbreak
Sure, right.
can range from losing a loved one, like through death, losing a
Mm-hmm.
pet through death, losing a
Mm-hmm.
connection that you lost. So like heartbreak can vary all across the spectrum, but really to define
Mm-hmm.
what are you sad about? Like
Yeah, what are you feeling?
what are you really, really feeling? I think therapy helps you
Mm-hmm.
to kind of clarify those feelings. Like, yes, I'm heartbroken. I miss this person, but what do
Mm-hmm.
you miss about them? Do you miss, even like these things weren't
Mm-hmm.
happening, but do you miss this part? Do you miss that part?
Right,
And then,
right.
so it kind of goes to our next question. I'm sorry, I'm going to keep tipping around, but the next question we have is, how can someone let go of past grief or anger to bring more love and trust into their love life? And if you're holding on to past connections of like, oh, this person hurt me, so now I don't trust anybody else moving forward,
Mm-hmm.
you know, you can't really move forward because you're holding on to this heartbreak, you called it, the heartache. It's like, well, if you want to grow, you have to let go of some things. And that
Mm-hmm.
past pain looks like, hey, I can't carry this to my next connection. So I have to actually go to therapy, talk to a therapist to
Mm-hmm.
process what I'm feeling, what I want to feel more of, what I want to feel less of, and how to cope with it. And then when you do start a
Mhm.
new connection, not letting the person pay for what the old person did, because this
Mhm.
is a whole new thing. You've evolved, you hopefully you've changed, and now you know what you require in new connections. And so when I meet clients with who are angry or grieving an old connection and can't really get past that point, kind of stuck,
Mhm.
I said, well, what do you feel like you stuck in? Like what is that like that's holding you back? And usually it's
Mhm.
like mourning, they're missing, longing for something that's gone, and it is
Yeah.
hard to let go. But I usually, I love, I'm very big on scripting. So I encourage
Yeah.
clients to write how you feel. Because sometimes putting a
Mhm.
pen to a paper that makes it more
Yes.
real than ends up here
Yes.
going in circles. So I usually encourage
Absolutely.
them to write it down, write down what you have, what you think you
Mhm.
lost, what you miss, what you desire more
Yeah.
of, and really let it go. I encourage
Yeah.
some clients to send it, not everybody, but some people actually send the letter to the person,
To a person,
and
right?
they've said that that's felt like a release, because it's like, oh,
Yeah,
they got it, it's
release.
over, and they don't care if they respond to it, because
Right.
it's out,
Right.
it's done. Most times they don't respond anyways, but at least they know,
Yeah.
hey, I said my piece. Here's how I
Mhm.
feel. I'm letting this go, and I'm over it, to move
Yeah.
forward to the next one. And usually the next connection that you go into, it's gonna challenge you again.
Yeah, it's gonna
It's more
challenge
and
you
more
again, right? It's
challenges.
a new set of challenges, right? I know people
Hmm.
talk about, well, I don't want to be single, I want to be in a relationship, I want to be married. Darling, welcome to married life. It's just another set of challenges, right? It's lovely, just
Hmm.
like any other season, but it's another set of problems to have. So, yeah,
Hmm.
absolutely, absolutely. I like that you bring up the very practical applications of it, as I talked about kind of the spiritual components, because
Hmm.
it's both. Right? If
Hmm.
you're working with a good therapist, or if, well, I should probably, I don't even use words good or bad in therapy, more or less, what serves you, what doesn't. But if you're
Hmm.
working with a therapist who has a good understanding or who's taking their time and really trying to help you do deeper work,
Hmm.
then, they're going to, rather, it's not about religion all the time. It's not about, yeah, it's just not about religion all the time. But if they understand that the being and the essence and the makeup of a person, it's just not do these 5 skills to be better at
Hmm.
this, or you'll
Hmm.
5 steps to get over a breakup. There's a lot of spirituality in giving yourself to a person in multiple ways, physically, mentally, spiritually, emotionally, that
Hmm.
happens in the background. And so this idea that, it's just something that you should be able to, just be able to do something and it's over. No, you take your time. And in
Yeah.
therapy, we take our time with our clients to help our clients really understand what's happening for them in these moments. And I believe a
Hmm.
lot in somatic work. What do you feel in your body when you
Ooh, yeah, I
describe this
like that.
person to me? What do you
Hmm.
feel in your body when you talk about the pain and the hurt that has happened? Because a lot of that, like you talked about, Crystal, being stuck, you could be stuck and feel trapped in your body. I've seen people in session who come into session, they're tight, they're rigid, and by the time we finish doing our work or doing breath work, you can literally
Hmm.
see their shoulders drop. You can literally see that the
Hmm.
the tonation of their voice changes because we store memory in our head, our heart, and our gut, and that's where we
Hmm.
tend to feel stress as well. So,
Hmm. What about, have you heard about people cry that they release certain hormones in the tears
and
that
protein,
also make it
absolutely.
feel relief, like, ah, it's
Yes,
over, it's out of me?
psychological release. Yeah, it's so
Hmm.
amazing. Can we take a moment and thank God for tears? Thank God
Hmm.
for tears, right? It's
Hmm.
amazing because God has created so many vehicles and vessels and
Hmm.
routes to healing. That's why
Hmm.
even as a therapist, I'm about to blow y'all mind right now. Y'all all about to be like, "What? Therapy's not the only way to heal, y'all. It's not the
Right.
only way to heal." I
Thanks.
know people, I know it's like the cute little thing to be like, oh, you
Hmm.
need to go to therapy. You need to go to therapy.
Hmm.
And it's a way to insult the person.
Right.
It's a
Sometimes.
way, it's a way to tell somebody off. But guess
Hmm.
what? Therapy's not the only way to heal. In fact, we know from
Hmm.
the data and the research that a person going through a crisis, they will heal from their crises within a year. On average, they will have a degree of psychological relief. Now, a year is a
Hmm.
long time. We don't recommend that.
Yeah.
Therapy is a quicker route, right? And it's a route
Hmm.
that can do deeper work, of course, right?
It's more
But
intentional.
it's more intentional, right? But we don't sit
Hmm.
here as the paradigms of like, you know, the great omens of
Right.
health and wellness, right? We're
Hmm.
offering to people as clinicians in our respective areas and in our respective works, we're offering to people a way out. We're offering people a
Hmm.
route. This is another, you can use this map, you can use that map. Our map says if you do it like this is what you'll get along the journey.
Hmm. Exactly. And I always tell my clients that our first meeting, like, hey, this is a tool, but this is a tool, but not
Mm-hmm.
your only tool, because I don't want to
Yes.
be the one that I'm not here for you to need me in
Right.
crisis. You know, I want you to have
Right.
your own toolbox of things. I'm here to be, I'm glad to be
Right.
one of the tools, but not the only tool, because
Right.
that's a lot of pressure
Absolutely.
for me too. Like I
It's
can't
a
show up
l-
for all my clients all the time. Nope.
Exactly. And in every way, exactly. Yeah. And most of the times, even as therapists, we're not really crisis centers, right? Like we
Right.
work
We're
with
not.
folks. There are a few places that are crisis centers. I
Mm-hmm.
partner with churches, so that's some of the work that I do. So I might be
Mm-hmm.
a crisis center for a church, right? But
Mm-hmm.
for my average client, I'm actually not a crisis center. So
Mm-hmm.
that's important to keep in mind that when you're connecting with your therapist or you're having an opportunity to kind of meet and to figure out what's your next steps, boundaries are so crucial as you continue in romantic relationships because everything can
Mm-hmm.
feel like an emergency, right?
Yep.
So that's
Yep.
an important component too. Great questions, Crystal.
Mm-hmm. And then another question is, how can mhm. Okay, how can therapy support someone in building a fulfilling relationship after emotional pain? Specifically with a Black therapist. I guess with Black people.
Mm. Ooh, that's so good. Should you take that? You want me to take that one first, or you want to take it
Yes,
first?
no, that's you.
Oh, that's so good. That's so good. Okay,
Right.
first of all, when I think about why I connect with someone, it's because we have shared realities in
Mm-hmm.
one way or the other, whether it's being Black, being a woman, being in New York, I'm originally from Oakland, whatever it is.
Mm-hmm.
So the key is when, you don't want to get hung up on one thing or the other, but what you feel connected to, some things that are important to you. I
Mm-hmm.
personally see a Black therapist because the way my Blackness shows up, it's important for it to be validated by a person
Mm-hmm.
that I'm seeing, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's just crucial to me. That's why I chose a Black husband. That's why I wanted to make Black babies because I wanted to see myself validated in different ways.
Mm-hmm.
That's a matter of personal choice. It doesn't have to be everyone's personal choice, and it can mean many things, and it can not mean many things for people, right? So
Mm-hmm.
when I thought about the way that I wanted my experiences validated, I didn't want to overly explain. I wanted a person. I wanted to be able to. I enjoy the aspect of being able to come into session with the therapist and
Mm-hmm.
knowing that I can say certain things and they get it.
Mm-hmm.
Their
Right.
brain's already moving. And so when we bring up the aspect of a Black therapist, the connection specifically for you, Crystal, working with many Black women, the aspect of that is that you're instantly validated.
Yeah, we see
There's
you.
no, yeah, we see you. We
Mm-hmm.
see you. It's our own communication and language, right?
Mm-hmm.
Across the diaspora in many ways. And of course, it's going to be even more unique, right? But we
Mm-hmm.
see you, right? We know
Mm-hmm.
what it's like if you in between a wash and a go. We know if
Yep.
you conditioning. We know that meant
Yep.
you were busy and that you didn't have time to finish. I know what it's like when the brothers come to sessions and they got on do-rags. They probably going out that night. They want to get their waves
Mm-hmm.
right before they head out. Like
Mm-hmm.
we know exactly what that is. So
Mm-hmm.
that's giving us information all the time. And so seeing a Black therapist comes with validation, right? Of
Mm-hmm.
course, we're saying this as a generalization, right? So when
Mm-hmm.
you are looking for a therapist, you should pay attention, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the validation, and it also comes with a person understanding an aspect of life for you on a day to day. So we're not
Mm-hmm.
spending 5 minutes of you educating me about your Blackness in one way or the other.
That
We
part.
already know. So that's
Mm-hmm.
crucial as you talk about support. And then the way that
Mm-hmm.
translates to your question, Crystal, the way that translates into fulfilling relationships is that we have an understanding of the opposite sex culturally as well,
Yep.
right? Yeah, and so that's a key component. Part of the assignments that I give to the young women or men that I serve is to talk to someone in the opposite sex. So if I'm seeing a young man or a man and we're talking about romantic
Mm-hmm.
relationships, part of his homework assignment might be to talk to a woman about the woman that he's seeing or that he's interested in.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to open up your community because we are a
Mm-hmm.
people of community. That's
Right.
important to us. That's how we understand each other. I think about the reason why we have rhythm and we can dance. We'll get a little kid, the little kids going there dancing. We're like, go
Mm-hmm.
get it, dance,
Mm-hmm.
because we all have surrounded that person and validated that child. And we're
Right.
saying we see you, you're validated, move. And to this,
Mm-hmm.
all of that's important to us culturally for various reasons. But the point
Mm-hmm.
is that you're constantly validated and your experiences are known, seen, heard, and we want to continue to walk you through that. That's our
Hmm.
job as therapists. Great
Yeah.
question.
Another question came through. I think it's a really good
Yeah.
question too. I'll read it out. So, would you recommend a Black male therapist to discuss relationship trauma that have involved abuse, trauma, and I think that means male-centered matters? Having done both, I'm struggling to understand my shortcomings.
Mm.
That's
You
a good
want to take it
question.
first, Crystal?
Yeah. So, there's two sides to it.
Yeah.
So one
Mm-hmm.
part of it, I want to say yes because I want to challenge the client to say to
Mm-hmm.
face the fear essentially. But essentially,
Mm-hmm.
the therapist is not the trigger. The therapist is only a vessel to help you heal. And if you
Mm-hmm.
feel that being around a male is going to be too much for you, it's
Mm-hmm.
okay. Go somewhere else. You don't have to see a male
Yes.
therapist, but
Yes. There's so much
like
freedom in therapy. It's like
yeah, like you don't
freedom.
have to go see it, but I do
Mm-hmm.
think that it does challenge you in a different way that the therapist has to understand as well. Like, hey,
Mm-hmm.
I'm here because I want to grow, but being with you is also a part of my triggers. So I'm trying to work
Mm-hmm.
through them in the moment.
Mm-hmm.
The therapist ideally could understand that and try to hold space with you in that way as you work
Mm-hmm.
through what the triggers are. Because the therapist, the male therapist, is not the actual
That's
person
right.
that harmed you. They're just the vessel that they to challenge you. But if
Mm-hmm.
they see that when they to challenge you and when they give you information, you don't want to receive it, then it may not be the best place for you. You know,
Mm-hmm.
just similar
Mm-hmm.
to seeing, also kind of counterintuitive to what we asked earlier about seeing a Black therapist. I think it's a because we do see you, people don't want to see us. Like, oh, because they
Yeah.
see through me. They
Yes.
know I'm
Come
not being
on.
honest. They know I'm
Come
not being
on.
lying. I've had clients actually, well, not clients, but I have people that I know that
Yeah.
said that like I don't want to see Black therapists because it's too familiar, it's too comfortable.
Yes.
And so
Yes.
I'd rather go see a old white male, old
Right.
white man and woman because I can fund it be myself. Yeah, I gotta explain things, but they don't know me, they don't see me. Like
Right.
but it's almost like they're trying to hide.
They can hide. Yeah,
They're
exactly.
hiding.
They can
But like
hide. Right.
in our
Right.
therapy sessions with the Black people, we see you. And I say, oh,
Right.
well, I
Right.
noticed this. You said this, and like I know our culturally this happens, and and we call it out. So when seeing someone that I guess is familiar to you, it can be triggering. It could be like, "Oh,
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to go here today. I don't want to. I'm gonna avoid this because it's hard. It's not easy. But does it mean that you just don't? So the alternative, I don't want to heal. Do you just
Right.
do you stay in this cycle, or do you say, "Hey, I want to face this fear or face this trigger and really work through it together"? But
Mm-hmm.
seeing a therapist of the opposite gender, if it's truly a trigger for you and it does cause concern, do not put yourself in harm's way just
Yeah,
to get better,
absolutely.
because it may actually make because it may make it worse.
Yeah, it may make it worse. Yeah, you bring up such a beautiful point of sometimes challenging the client
Mm-hmm.
because what it could look like to challenge the client could be what we call a little bit of exposure, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's like when I was a kid, my parents have 6 children, and yeah, we used to have chicken pox parties. Chicken pox? I said chicken pox. My
I know
son was
what you
asking.
mean. Chicken pox.
Yeah, so you get a little exposure, but everybody's good in the end, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I think you bring up an excellent point, Crystal, about really understanding yourself. And sometimes you have to try different therapists out. You have to try different therapists out. You have to
Mm-hmm.
try different therapists out. I know
You
folks
do.
feel like, yeah, wait, is there a filter on me? Ooh, how do I get that
I
off?
don't know if it's the filter or the
Oh,
screen change, but you look the same. It's just the
okay,
screen is a different
good.
color. I
Oh,
think you're
okay.
the same. I don't know.
Okay, I'm not trying to have no filter. Y'all tell me if I could take that off. I don't want that. Okay. No, it's no filter on. Okay.
Mm-mm.
Okay. It's the screen change, right? Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay,
the
good.
color of the screen change.
Yeah, okay, good. Yeah, so it's multiple aspects to that, but I think the key is to be open and to challenge yourself and to
Hmm.
not be caught up in what you think it's supposed to be.
Mm.
Yeah, it's an
Yeah.
experience to grow, right? Like you different seasons and different weathers, like you need different type of soils, you need different type of fertilizers. We just planted out in the back, and like it tells you on the back of little plant seeds what type of times that you should plant based on the season, based on the area. And
Hmm.
so you bring up such a beautiful point, Crystal, of really asking yourself these questions as you jump in, right? You're supposed to look before you leap, right? Sometimes
Hmm.
people are leaping and then they're just excited about, the change. They're not looking for you leap. right?
Hmm.
So you bring
Yeah,
up good
and finding a
subjects.
therapist is a journey too. I would say it's kind of
Hmm.
like dating a little bit, finding the right match. Because yes, it's not one size fits all. I
Yeah,
will say my therapist to get to her, I went through about 3 or 4 therapists prior to
yeah.
her. And it was just the inner know intuitive, like, hey, it's not a good fit for me. So I kind of just
Yeah.
kind of feel it. I wish it was like, hey, these therapists must meet these things, but like I think you'll know if you feel comfortable talking to this person or not about what you're going through.
Hmm.
And so I will say taking your time to find someone who really is the good fit can take time as well. And it's hard when
Hmm.
you're already going through emotional things. So it's like, I gotta find
Hmm.
a therapist and deal with this issue. So I would
Yeah,
say find it before it gets too hard. Like, go search for a
right.
therapist before you need one. So that way, when you do
Yeah,
need one, you know you can call and get that
right.
support before it gets too overwhelming for you to handle.
Yeah, yeah. We branched into therapy a little bit. We have a question. Hi, Tyler. Hello, hello, hello. Tyler says, I tried a young white male. She's probably referring to a therapist and says it took too much explaining, family dynamics and such. Yeah, that could
That's
be work,
funny.
especially if you're wanting to talk about as a Black person and you're wanting to talk about romantic relationships, right? There's like a
Hmm.
sense of like you want to be able to explain it, but you also want to be able to leave room for the person to challenge you and not have to
Hmm.
protect, right? Sometimes I
Hmm.
talk I'm in settings and I might
Hmm.
want to talk about certain things. I grew up, my mom used to say, certain conversations you don't have in front of mixed company, right? There's
Hmm.
certain ways in which you have conversations about our Blackness that I might not feel comfortable discussing around other people. So, which
Hmm.
is okay, right? If somebody else feels that way of a different ethnic background or group, they have that right too. That's their business. It's their choice, right? So
Hmm.
I think there's room, especially as we talk about it in the sense of romantic relationships.
Yeah. I think that having going that experience going through to seeing a young white male therapist, I tried that too. I really did. I
Yeah,
was just curious, how's this gonna
yeah,
feel? What's this gonna be like? And it
yeah.
was awkward. It was very awkward. It was a lot of like explaining like, so this is how my family is set up. This is what this
Hmm.
means. Even though this even though my like my best friend's daughter is my godchild. She calls me auntie. This is not her like explain like
Hmm.
how we all connected. And
Yeah.
they're like, huh? Who
You
said
did
what?
a
So you know what?
whole
Don't worry about it.
anthropology session in anthropology, Black anthropology, right? And you Southern Black Southern
Hmm.
anthropology, like, okay, kinship relationships, not my real auntie, but
Right.
because she older than my mom or slightly younger than my mom, she's my auntie.
Exactly. Because it's a mama, and because my mama's cousin is my aunt because she's older than
Right,
me. I can't call her by her
right.
first
And I'm
name. I have
probably
to call
my
her
granny
auntie.
age. Right, right, right. It's a whole thing. Yeah, Tyler's giving us more info, more tea. Thank you, Tyler. She said explaining that my mom is an only child, but I have a gang of aunties. It's confusing, right? Exactly. And then there's
Hmm.
hierarchies to the auntie system, right? There's
Yeah.
certain aunties that you gotta talk to before you talk to that. It's a dynamic. Exactly.
Hmm.
So great
That's
point.
funny.
Let's jump into the juicy, juicy, juicy parts, Crystal, and talk
Hmm.
to folks about how dating healthy, how to be in romantic relationships
Hmm.
in ways that are healthy, fun, right, and move you toward a mutual and shared goal.
Hmm. I would
So, folks,
say
keep dropping your comments too. We want to see, hear from you, comments and questions.
healthy relationships, I think, are the ones that are full of mutual respect, full of
Hmm.
honesty, fun, and community. Like people
Hmm.
that are open and want to pour into you and into y'all as a couple and hold you
Hmm.
accountable as a couple and challenge you as a couple. I think that's where healthy relationships can thrive. It's a quote I used to say that self love cannot thrive in isolation. And same thing,
Hmm.
it's by bell hooks. And the same quote applies to loving partnerships. We can't thrive in isolations. We need our people, our
Hmm.
communities, because we're not always going to be all in one all the time. We want to make sure we have, hey, date day, but also friend day, girls' night, boys' night, whatever it may be. Like
Yeah.
we have our time apart because together all
Yeah.
the time can be a lot too. Can be
Hmm.
very suffocating. But having the
Hmm.
time away in community um, can help cultivate healthy relationships. Having
Hmm.
open, honest conversations often. Trying to think other healthy tips that I've given in the past.
Hmm.
Support. trust. That's a big one, trust.
Trust. Yeah.
Learning to trust your partner
Mm-hmm.
and letting them almost not necessarily prove to you, but yeah, prove that you're worthy of my trust. And
Mm-hmm.
how can I trust you in the season of my life? Like showing you examples like, okay,
Mm-hmm.
this is being dependable, being honest, being open about things that they go through. That makes me want to trust you more because now you're vulnerable with me. Vulnerability is a part of it as well. So all
Mm-hmm.
those things put together in the box are all a bunch of green flags. And also
Yeah.
therapy. I love therapy, of course. Couples counseling when you're not married and not engaged, just regular
Yeah.
couples counseling,
Yeah.
I think is really cool. I know that
It's
it's like
cool. A
taboo.
little tabooish.
It's not as
Right.
popular because it's like, why are you doing that? But it's
Yeah,
like,
y'all not married.
right. But at the same time, do you want to be a healthy person in a healthy
Mm-hmm.
relationship? So we have to do this
Mm-hmm.
together,
Yeah.
especially if on both parties are doing the work. So it's like we're
Yeah.
doing the work individually, we're
Hmm.
not seeing it
And it
together
comes at
yet.
a certain point, right? Like nobody's
Hmm.
saying go, enlist a
Right.
couple
Day
of months and
one.
you 2 months. Yeah. It comes at a certain point where you're like ready to take the relationship to the next level. And it might be a
Hmm.
step that you take before pre-engagement. So obviously, probably, obviously before premarital. And
Hmm.
sometimes, therapy has evolved so much. Is a tool. It's like a tool like anything else. If you would go get
Hmm.
a self-help book, nowadays we're in the land of ChatGPT,
Right.
and nobody's like, why you're cheating. It's not, the concept is not you're cheating now. The concept is like, how wise are you to use this tool? So things
Hmm.
are changing and evolving, and we're supposed to be changing and evolving with it. I love what
Hmm.
Tyler says. We got some active ladies
Hi,
and fellas.
Andrea.
We got some active folks. Hi, everybody. Come on in. Oh my gosh. Hi, India. One of our girls. Welcome, darling. Our sister, our cohort sister. Tyler brings up a good aspect of like the women and men who are very self-aware and very self-evolved.
Hmm.
They're, because you're likely talking about, sorry, question. I'll read the question. Can you guys talk about therapy for people that are highly self-aware? I'm struggling, girl. And then she goes on to say, the talking ain't fixing it. So likely what you're doing
Hmm.
in therapy right now is called talk therapy. It's a very psychoanalytic approach where you're talking and the therapist in themselves is the tool that you're colliding against. What you're sharing is based on your comfortability with the therapist. What you're talking about is based on your comfortability, and they're just a board. And what
Hmm.
they're doing is they're not actually offering you much. You see this a lot with psychologists. It can be a psychoanalyst of any form, but the therapist just having you talk is the modality. You might need to
Hmm.
switch modalities, and some therapists do different modalities. So that might
Yeah.
be, something that you have to think about. So that may mean, yes, switching therapists. So for example, my background is in CBT, trauma informed care. I did my third program in pastoral counseling, faith-based counseling. And
Hmm.
so I bring in the modality RCBT, which is religious based cognitive behavior therapy. Right, exactly. God plus therapy said it perfectly. She might need talking, she might need less talking and more interventions. And so you can
Hmm.
ask for that. You can say, I'm struggling with this. Can you help me develop some tools for such and such, right?
Hmm.
Now, keep in mind that therapist, there are different styles of therapists, like there are different styles of dresses and there are different styles of shoes. You might
Hmm.
have to think about what it looks like to switch or, ask for what you need ahead of time. Great question.
Yeah. And some methods are more like I know like EMDR is very structured.
Hmm.
Somatic therapy is very much about how you feel physically in your body. And sometimes that one's really good for women who are for people who overanalyze and talk a lot.
Hmm.
Where do you
Hmm.
feel it? What do you feel
Yes.
inside of you? And
Hmm.
that helps to kind of push things forward. Hey Josh,
Hmm.
that's my brother.
Hi, Josh. Hi, brother.
So definitely trying that avenue sometimes too, having a more physical um a physical response to
Hmm.
therapy versus the going talking and talking because talking is great. Sometimes
Yeah.
people just need to talk it out. But if you've talked enough, you need more tangible. Hey, I need some homework assignment, I
Hmm.
need action items, I need things to
Right.
work on. Maybe considering a different modality or different
Hmm.
style. Like
Right.
talk a little about coaching. I know it's not
Hmm.
therapy, but it's very similar.
Right. You might add to your therapy, right? Or she can see
Mhm.
someone like you, Crystal, who, you're able to incorporate that. And you do EMDR. So you're
Mm-hmm.
literally helpful at helping people understand stored trauma. So that's an
Mm-hmm.
important part. And that can be, oh, we need another time just to talk about you doing EMDR,
Me
Crystal, because
too. That's a fun
that can
time.
help so much with stored trauma before dating and relationships.
Oh.
Because, right? We have
Mm-hmm.
all these triggers, all these things that are happening, and we don't know where they come from, right? All of a sudden he says one thing or she says one thing and you ready to blow up. When you
Mm-hmm.
like, why did I do that? Why did I respond like that? There could be some stored things in your body or some stuff that you're not acquainted with.
Mm-hmm. EMDR
Yeah,
will
that's
pull all
good.
that out. So let's do EMDR day because I think that'd be
That's
helpful,
totally is good
especially for
EMDR day.
Black people because we don't know do all
Yes.
two things. But like,
Yeah, we might not know as much about it. Yeah, that would be awesome, Crystal. So y'all stay tuned for that. I'll
mm-hmm.
add a last piece before we kind of bring ourselves to a lovely departure about dating. I love, 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 Crystal, that you brought up dating should be fun. Y'all,
Mm-hmm.
have fun. Have
Yeah.
fun. You should be having fun dating. This concept that it's always supposed to be hard. I want to challenge
Mm-hmm.
us with that, especially as Black people. Everything don't got to be hard. Everything is not supposed to be a challenge for us. We are such a beautiful, resilient people. We are such a
Mm-hmm.
beautiful, resilient people, and we endure so much that we're not supposed to endure. Hint,
Mm-hmm.
hint, dominant society, white supremacy, racism, and other things.
All the above.
All of the above. Check, check, check. Right. D, all of the above. Right. That we are not supposed to be enduring, right? And at the same time, like one of the tools that we have to wellness is joy. Joy.
Mm.
So when you're meeting and connecting with someone and you're not having fun, yo, you don't gotta date them. Look at me. I'm not even from New York. I've been here too long. You don't have to date them. There's like
Yeah.
other people in the world. Now, that's
Mm-hmm.
not to say run from a challenge or dehumanize somebody when they don't meet your standard. You don't hold up
Right.
your scepter. Okay, okay. But it is to say that there's so much room to enjoy the aspect of dating and not
Mm-hmm.
treating it as that as though it's another assignment. And sometimes what we do, especially as Christians, we have to be careful. We make projects out of people,
Mm-hmm.
right? We have our little pet projects, and it's like, well, if I just do this, I'll get this, right? Especially from our high
Mm-hmm.
achieving, ambitious girlies out there, they always
Mm-hmm.
think it's going to be A plus B going to equal C, and it's
It's
not
never
how it
that
always
easy.
goes.
Not
It's
in
not,
dating. You
not in
cannot control
dating,
that person. Cannot
especially.
control the timing. I always say you
That's
can't
so true.
control your thoughts, behaviors, and actions. I said you can't control their thoughts, their actions. It's on them. You have to let things flow
Hmm.
and let it go
Hmm.
and trust God.
Let it go. Right, right, right. Exactly. Yeah, that's great. God plus therapy made a great suggestion. Also, just suggest role playing with the counselor instead of practicing that situation in the
Good idea.
bathroom, in the bathroom, in the room, yeah, whatever. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
absolutely. Yeah, role play is so much fun. You can do that without therapy, so that's really good too,
Mm-hmm.
right? There's lots of tools, and we'll be talking more about this. We have some materials and things coming out, so yeah,
Yes. Well, today was a good day. It was fun.
today was a good
Definitely. I
day.
think. I think. I think we should continue this series. Moving
I think
forward.
so. We
Think
got
it.
good feedback. Y'all, thank you for
Mm-hmm.
joining. We had a nice little crowd in today too. The crowd keeps growing. So yeah,
Yes.
we look forward to being before you all again. And just to make it clear before we close out, we're doing this as like our way to be able to obviously connect with people and support people. As therapists, we're
Mm-hmm.
not, and I know the concept around it is like you're doing good work and community work and good work for people. And it's like you should be able to help everybody. And we can't help everybody, obviously,
Right.
right?
Mm-hmm.
But this is one way that we're able to give people information for free, connect with people. You can ask questions of a therapist. You can connect with us. So we hope that you will really utilize this. This is a labor of love for us. We want to, and it's a joyful labor of love. We want to be
Yeah.
before you all, but it's one of our give backs. And so please share the word, share, our lives. We can't do it all. We're small business folks. So, if you could share, let other people know, and really put the word out there, that's most
Mm-hmm.
helpful for us. We certainly appreciate it. We want to be available to you all in that way.
Yes, most definitely. I'm glad to be here to help
Hmm.
out.
Yeah, absolutely. So we see you soon. So, Crystal, what we gonna do? We gonna let the folks know when we're back, our
Yeah, I
next
don't mind
series?
coming back next week. We'll figure out day and
Okay.
time stuff out, but definitely we could come back and give
Yeah,
some more support and insight. People who want it, need it. We're here for you.
yeah, absolutely. All right. All the best. Take care, everybody.
Thank
God
you
bless.
all. Bye.
Bye.